Welcome to Beyond the Box. Inside, outside, upside, downside. Beyond the Box.
Break it down.
Our guests are insiders, now on the outside and the right side, dropping truth and nuclear intel bombs and breaking it down just for you. And now it's time to meet your hosts and co-host. Your hosts of Beyond the Box are Brenda Lankarge and Suzanne Hott. Brenda Lankarge is host of Beyond the Box and retired law enforcement. Joined by Suzanne Hott, host of Beyond the Box, Joel's Indoor Arena and Event Center, and White Horse Productions. Their co-host is Brian Sang, co-host Beyond the Box, Full Disclosure Now Movement, fulldisclosuremovement.org. This show is for entertainment purposes only. And now discover new boundaries beyond the box. Inside, outside, upside, downside. Beyond the box begins now.
Break it down.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Beyond the Box. Been an interesting day today. God, I feel terrible. Look, I'm going to tell y'all something. Don't ever do what I just did. I just started eating solid foods, and I decided that I really, really wanted corn nuggets.
Bad decision.
Bad decision.
Corn.
Bad decision. I am dying right now. I'm like, oh God, I feel just as bad as I did last. Well, no, not quite as bad, but still. Hi, Brent. We missed you last night. Norma, Denise.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Hi,
yeah.
Brett. Hi, Denise. Hi, Norma.
I know. That's who was
Yeah.
missing last night. I noticed that, Brent. I noticed you were missing last night. See, you're noticed. So how's your day been today, Susie?
Good. Got some painting done on the house, and I'm almost done. So, cleaned up some horse manure in the arena, good stuff like that.
Oh, well, cleaning horse manure is always good stuff, I guess. Yeah.
That's it.
Of course, I can't do it anymore. All I can do is run it over, but hey. So everybody, I decided today that I was going to put up a picture of our favorite grandpa. Are y'all ready for this?
It's pretty dang funny.
Sorry, I just had to.
She just had to. Yeah.
I had to. I've been out of the loop for a couple weeks, so my little spry self is starting to come back, and I seen that and downloaded it as a background and thought, oh, look at her.
Norma says creepy. I know, but it's funny.
But it's funny.
It's funny.
It's funny.
It's my precious.
His ice cream. He's got his ice cream in his hand. That's it. That's what it is. It's just precious.
Oh my God.
So, do you want to tell everybody about our guest tonight?
I will. We have Debbie Davis. Debbie Davis is, I believe one of the top whistleblowers out there that put her career on the line when she worked at she was in the military, and she exposed a big financial theft. And as a result of this and her saving millions of dollars, and bringing all this out, she's been a very targeted individual. And I think she's been arrested 55 times for absolutely the stupidest, no reasons whatsoever, other than the fact that her name is on the list. And so she's a very targeted individual. So this is what we're going to talk about tonight is some of this stuff that's been going on and how, when you come out and you expose this stuff, the price that a person pays for standing up for the truth, I mean,
Yes.
it's like all hell comes against you.
Yeah.
So,
Yep. And we all know. We know, and that's what I don't understand. Stop lying to us. We all know. Gigs up. We all know. We know it all. Government ain't worth crap. Everything's corrupt. We know it all. Stop hiding it. Stop picking on people for it. We're just calling you out. What? Ooh.
I think your picture says a lot behind you there, Brenda.
I know, right? Look at there. You end up looking like this.
My precious.
You're crazy. So let's go ahead and we will bring out.
We'll say
Debbie.
a prayer.
Oh
say
yeah,
prayer.
that's right. We got to
Yes.
have our prayer.
Oh yeah, definitely. I just want to like shout out to the Father, shout out to Jesus, shout out to everybody who loves Jesus and the Father. And we just say, go in Jesus' name. That's my prayer tonight. Let's go.
That's right. Let's go.
Let's do it.
That's right. Let's go. All right, everybody. We're going to bring out Debbie. Hello, Debbie. How are you?
Hey, Debbie.
Let's go, ladies.
Right. That's what we're saying.
Yay.
Hi.
So Tommy.
So Debbie, where do you want to start? Do you want to like share kind of your career that you chose and what led you to be a whistleblower?
Sure. So, well, I mean, basically, I just I had gotten a job, a full-time position, and said I was National Guard, which was just 1 weekend a month. I mean, 1 week, yeah, just the regular drill training. But then, after 2008, so I moved out to Arizona. I'm from Minnesota, and I was in the National Guard in Minnesota here. And then I had a break in service, and then I was in a relationship, and then moved out to Arizona and rejoined the Arizona National Guard. And at first I was just, like just a regular drill National Guard person. But then I got a full-time job there because after like 2008, when the economy crashed, there wasn't a lot of work anywhere. And so I applied to just work right at the base. And basically what happened is I was an admin and CO for, okay, looks like some people are joining now.
Yeah, this is Tommy.
Okay. All right.
Well, yeah, for a second there.
Sorry. I mean, I still don't have any black screen.
Hey, Tommy.
Hey, sorry.
That looks good.
Black screen again.
So I was an admin, and I ended up being, well, I had several different positions. I worked there for a total of 6 years, full time. So I was on the border mission in Arizona, where we were building the first fence in 2006, 2007. Where we were building, there was, before Trump rebuilt the fence, it was just like we were putting up this, somewhat of a fence. It was like, we were helping weld all along there. And so I was on that border mission for about 1.5 years. And
oh, wow.
Stick welding. Yeah. Stick welding. And then
you did welding, Debbie?
Yeah. They taught me how to weld. We were working with the Army Corps of Engineers and building the fence. Yeah. For about 1.5 years. Yeah. So it was quite interesting because there was one time along the fence where some of the people got guns put in their face from the other side of the fence.
Yeah.
And so we had to kind of have, some training on what would happen if we were in danger,
Right.
Standard
Debbie, Brenda
Yeah.
had a career in law enforcement as well, so she knows that too.
Oh, Brenda, you were in law enforcement. Okay, yeah. So anyway, yeah.
And
so
I lived in Arizona for 10 years.
Oh, okay. You were there. Yeah. So anyway, this was in the Yuma sector that I was at for about 1.5 years. And then I was deployed to Iraq in 2007, and then when I got back 2008, it was like, you know, that economy crash, and that's when I started working full time at the base and in like a tech position, and then an admin position at a base in Phoenix, Arizona. And then what happened is when I was an admin and CO for a National Guard unit, I was working like in the same area across the hall from like these emergency relief fund and different other offices at the base. And there was the girls there at that office were noticing that the colonels were making illegal withdrawals from the emergency relief fund. It's a state fund. It's a fund that is in every single state. It's supposed to be set aside for emergencies, you know, for soldiers and their families. And they were making illegal withdrawals. And then being admin and CO, I was also picking up on some things in the finance office. And so just like between us both, like we decided, and there was other things going on at the base, a very hostile work environment, just a very hostile work environment for the people we worked for, just the things happening, and many situations. I mean, it was the most hostile work environment I've ever seen. So anyway, but we decided to file a complaint with the governor's liaison office, the military liaison person of Governor Jan Brewer's office. And then that military liaison person turned our complaint into the Arizona Auditor General. And then the base got audited, and they found that they had stolen $2.7 million.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, so that's kind of what happened. And then they came after me, and they fired us both. Instead of, you know, being rewarded.
Tell the truth and get fired.
That was the end of my career right there. Yeah, and I had no idea that I would, you know, be retaliated like that. I thought there was more protections. I thought I was going to be protected by the Military Whistleblower Protection Act, or, you know, yeah, it turned out that none of that. There's no protections for whistleblowers at all.
It's all double.
In the military, in the government, in any kind of government office. Yeah, I tried everywhere. Like I tried to get help from senators, and turns out many of the senators in Arizona were in on it. You know, they knew that it was happening, and so they were not to help me, of course. And I've tried like every single whistleblower office that I could reach out to try to get help. Nobody ever got back to me. I mean, literally, like these are like when they say they're like a whistleblower protection office or whatever. I mean, it's all just
They're really
like
not.
they're not. It's just a front. It's for you think there's actually people out there that are really doing something, and then you go to actually reach out and try to contact them, and they're just a joke. They're like they pretend to do a job, but then they never get back to you. Yeah, there's nobody. There's absolutely. Why do you think all the whistleblowers end up dead? I mean, there's hard. Yeah. I mean, there's how many over the last like 10 years? I mean, like. Hollywood whistleblowers, a Homeland Security whistleblower, Phil Haney. I met him. There's that Mike Morales guy who had a YouTube channel that was exposing some stuff like the with his like telescope in the sky and different military flights and different things like that. I mean, he ended up dead like a year ago. There's personal friends of mine that have ended up dead, that were exposing.
How did they? Do you know how they died? How he died, Debbie?
I don't.
How did he die?
I don't know. Do you remember his channel, Mike Morales? Do you remember? You have to look him up. I don't know, but I really don't know what happened to him. But
yeah, that does sound familiar.
Yeah. I mean,
he died of cancer. Norma said.
Lung cancer.
Okay. Okay, that's what. Okay, so maybe it was that, but I don't know. It seems like all of them end up dead, like after they.
Yeah.
Well, they have ways of setting off those.
They hit us with directed energy weapons.
Oh, Tommy knows about those.
Energy weapons.
Tommy knows all about those weapons.
Tommy knows about that.
Yeah, I can feel targeting my brain, and then when I was talking to this other girl, if I talk to a whistleblower sometimes and they don't want us talking, like I was trying to talk to this other girl who is kind of a whistleblower too. And every time we went to go talk, it was like some buzzing was happening through the phone. It was like, it was painful. And then I go in after I have to get off the phone. My ear is just killing me, talking to you. And she's like, mine too. And I go in the bathroom and I had like this huge, like red blotch mark all the way down my ear, all the way down my neck. Like somebody was hitting us through. They have turned those 5G towers into directed energy weapons.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so they're coming from the 5G towers. And so it's a problem. We have to be aware of these type of things. And now they're coming at, now that they've investigated. Do you remember that concert in Houston where those kids died at that one?
Yeah.
Like 8 kids ended up dying, and a bunch of them passed out. And it was Tyler Scott, or what was his name? Something. It was like a rap kind of a rap guy.
Yeah, I don't remember what his name was, but I know what you're talking about. Yes.
So I was watching some channel, some whistleblower channel kind of, or whatever, but they figured out that what happened there, and that what they were doing is they were using the music and the cell phone towers, and they created a frequency that hit their heads and killed them. And the whole stage was set up like a satanic sacrifice.
Yep.
Wow.
And the whole thing was set up that way to lure them in. It was a total satanic sacrifice stage. There's like fire and weird stuff happening throughout the whole concert. Yeah.
Well, it's like that one they had for
those cell phone towers.
They had that one concert. What was his name? Help me out here, Norma. Was it Little Uzi or something like that? And he got everybody in there. They locked the doors, and he said, y'all are going to hell with me, and you just don't know it. And the people were just acting weird, and they were trying to get out. They didn't want to stay there. And it was pretty bad. I mean,
this was recently?
Probably maybe about a year ago, I want to say.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I told people about that, and they're using those cell phone towers, and you got to be careful. And then my friend in Virginia, who's another targeted person, went to a Trump rally. It was supposedly a Trump rally, but I mean, there's Trump clones, so people have to be careful.
Yeah.
There are,
and some of them, you the thing of it is they can't have him in a lot of places for safety purposes.
Yeah.
So they do put people in for him.
Yeah.
And it's sad. It's almost like, I'm going to tell you this though. He doesn't like that, because it's like he lying to the American people, and that's the last thing he wants. And he doesn't like it.
Yeah.
But right now at this point, he is probably the only one that is willing to stick his neck out to fix what is going on. So in order for him to do that, he's going to have to still be around. So
Trump, I ended up getting help finally with my whistleblower situation from President Trump. I got help from President. He was the only one that helped me. I drove to Trump Tower in December of 2016, right after he became president-elect. So he wasn't in the White House yet. He was still in New York. And I drove from the Midwest all the way out there. And I said, if I'm going to, maybe get a chance to meet Trump, maybe before he gets in the White House. And so I got a whole packet of information together for him of stuff that was happening at the military bases in Arizona, and what happened to me and all this stuff. And I just prepared a packet, and I drove to Trump Tower and got it in the hands of the Secret Service and at Trump Tower. And they did a background check on me and found out I was legitimate military and everything. And talked to me for an hour. and then I almost didn't make it out of New York. I got arrested. And I got arrested and thrown into a mental hospital. And his Secret Service had to save me and get me out of there.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah, because they tracked me down by my phone. They tracked because I had my phone in there, and I was showing them death threats on my phone, his Secret Service, and so they tracked me down by my phone, and I had called my mom, and I said they. So what happened is I went to go leave Trump Tower, and I had parked around the corner at just a parking ramp, and then when I get there, they tried to say, "Your car, we don't have that car," and I had my parking ticket and everything,
Yeah.
and so they tried to steal my car. The parking lot people, like, it was like the whole thing was like a setup, and then
Wow.
um and I said, well, I have the ticket right here, where's my car, and then they said I was making a scene. I wasn't making a scene, and so the police come out to the parking ramp, and all of a sudden I find myself arrested, and they something that I was making a scene. And I said, oh, is trying to find my car, that they're trying to steal, making a scene. So I ended up, the police brought me to this mental place. Yeah, and so I had to call my mom and tell her what happened, and then tell her,
Wow.
I did legitimately drive a vehicle out here. My mom can give you the license plate. I'm trying to find this vehicle. Yeah, I did. And so yeah, they had to track me down. It took several days before I got
How
out of
long were
there.
you held?
Huh?
How long were you held? How long were you held at
Like
the
4 days. Like 4 days
Okay.
before they could figure. I mean, they weren't going to let me go. I didn't know if I was ever going to get out of there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
So
thankfully they tracked me down, the Secret Service, and the Secret Service was working with the social workers,
yeah,
and they said I was a legitimate whistleblower. I'm not insane, and so
yeah.
they had to help get me out of there. Yeah, they had to. His Secret Service had to track me down.
So they did a
Wow.
what's called a temporary detention order. It's it's a loophole in the law that they abuse all the time. That
Yeah,
happens to me.
that
6 days.
happened to you too. Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know what they did, but they found some way to detain me, and I was scared that I was never going to get out of there because I
Yes,
know they've
Trump.
done that to other
Traumatizing.
whistleblowers. I know they've done that to other whistleblowers, and so thankfully it was after I had been to Trump Tower, not before. So but by the grace of God, I somehow made it into Trump Tower and got them the information that I needed to get them, but I almost didn't make it out.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, and then I
Yeah.
just hauled ass home. I was
Yeah.
living I drove there from South Dakota. I'm from Minneapolis, in the South Dakota area. Yeah. So I hauled out of there. Yeah, and
Did,
just praying, I was like praying the whole way. I was like, oh my God, Lord, please help me get out of here.
did they locate your car?
Huh?
Did you have to rent a car, or did they locate your car?
Yes. Thankfully, yep, my mom and the social worker had to help hunt down the car. Yep,
Was
because
it still on the lot?
I was trying to remember like what ramp it was, the name of the ramp, and all
Sure.
this stuff. But they had me drugged up in there. They were forcing me
Yeah.
to take drugs.
Wow. Typically,
And
they
so I was
observe
like
you.
I was trying to tell them the information, but I was all loopy, because they're like, we have to give you this, we have to, so I had to just comply, or I was never going to get out of there.
See, luckily I can't have that. I'm allergic to everything that under the sun that would mess you up. Everything.
Yeah, I don't even know what they diagnosed me with. I don't even know what I was taking. I just had to take whatever stuff they gave me, or I wasn't going to get out of there.
Yeah, they're supposed to just observe you for the first 72 hours to see what's going on. But
Yeah,
that's medical targeting.
mhm.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
Oh yeah,
Hey,
I was terrified. I was terrified. I had already, and prior to that, when I first got home from, so this was in 2016, when I first got out, so that I ended up getting out of the National Guard after this whistleblower thing was 2011. I was so targeted, I couldn't stay in the military, and they forced me out. They forced me
yeah,
out. I was terrified to be in, and everything, and then I moved home. I moved out of Arizona back to Minneapolis. And then there's senators here that were in cahoots with some of the senators there, and they put me on a targeted list here.
Oh, great.
And so I
yeah.
was pulled over like 33 times.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was literally like every couple days. Yeah, it was literally like every couple days I was pulled over for something. You know, some of them I got out of, and some of them I didn't. They would just find it, little things, anything. They were making it up.
Sure.
Right.
But then I had to go to court multiple times. It was just, you know,
Oh.
on a made up charge.
Yeah.
You know.
Did they drop any of them when you got to court?
Yeah, thankfully I did get most of them targeted, because I mean it just became like kind of obvious to some of the judges and some of the prosecutors that what is going on with this girl? It was like embarrassing. It's like she's always in here, you know. And,
Norma says
yeah.
33 is an interesting number.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's Tommy's number too, and
Tommy's
right,
football
Tommy?
number.
Like
Yeah,
I was
my dad
pulled
knows
up like
phone number
33
too.
times. It was like the 33rd Masons. Yeah. It was
Yeah.
all Masons. Yeah, it was all
Yeah.
Masons. Some of them had the Masonic symbols and everything on them.
Yeah, I'm being targeted by Masons here. One
Yeah.
of my neighbors, former Hell's Angel, and a minister and a Mason now, and he and I had become friends. His daughter worked for me at one point as a clerk at my store, and then he had a bunch of stuff happen, and I helped him through. After he got out of the mental hospital, he was stuck in for a while. After he had cancer, and he was contemplating suicide. And so they put him up they put him in the mental hospital for that. And when he got out, one of his children that still lived with him, young lady that has autism, and actually one of my gang stalkers had been bringing her coffee that was laced with something, and abusing her while he was in the hospital. And then as soon as he got out, she ended up in the hospital. But he started kind of tipping me off as to like what they were doing in my cars and my different my tools and stuff, so I didn't have to spend exponential time trying to diagnose it to fix it. They could just go ahead and fix it. And he'd say, sometimes they'll tinker with this and they'll do this to it, and like as a kind of posing it as a scenario.
Mm-hmm.
And he confirmed that I was on the slow kill list and being targeted by the Masons, which was my grandfather was a master Mason and like
My uncle.
Yeah, my mom's dad. He died when I was 6 months old, though. But but and a lot of my really close friends that I thought were my close friends have all been part of this. And they're either Masons themselves.
That's what I found over time that they try to befriend you, and then you find out, this person really isn't my friend. They're part of it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you've been targeted. You've been targeted for what reason, Tommy? Or are you just? Has it been?
Well, I'm considered a whistleblower because coming out talking about the brain damage I had from football, CTE.
Okay.
And the abuse that I went through with that, and I was actually one of the leading voices in the subject matter, in the United States and actually internationally, and was kind of being, I guess, groomed to be like the face of that by folks that were trying to spread scientific information to protect kids,
Yeah, because
and
they're all ending up with concussions from football and everything. Yeah.
Concussion is kind of euphemism because actually there's more damage done just from every like the culmination of all the hits together, because it does like little damage here and there, and then that's actually what sets off the CTE. I mean, the concussions are they contribute in like a major way, but overall you can have no concussions and still end up with CTE.
What's CTE mean?
Chronic traumatic encephalopathy. It's from repeated, ongoing brain damage you get from just banging your head. Yeah.
Wow. I think that I think the directed energy weapons on top of it can add concussions.
It does.
It does. Yeah. And I've been hit for over 10 years now with those. I can feel them.
Yeah.
And they're hitting my teeth too. All of a sudden I started getting a bunch of cavities, and I'd never had a bunch of cavities before.
Yeah, mine suddenly started like cracking and breaking and falling out. And,
yeah. Uh-huh.
And this is after I moved to Nashville to get away. When I got out of the hospital, I posted about the folks that had participated in a criminal conspiracy to deny me my civil rights and to try to silence me. And in retaliation, they sent a SWAT team after me up in New Jersey, just on the other side of the river from New York, and over in Bergen County. And those folks were told that was armed homicidal, most likely headed for a school, like 2 weeks after the Parkland shootings. and they weren't told the reason they were trying to get in touch with me was for a wellness check that they had generated from within the police department, just as a continued tactic of abuse.
Wow.
And I wasn't at my vehicle when the SWAT team came in. It was my ex's birthday that I was there for. We'd gone into the city after. I'd been on the phone for half an hour with the police in my hometown, calling me from inside my house that they had kicked the door in and were inside looking for me because they said that when they got there, the door was standing open. And my cousin had just fed my dog and left, so I knew that wasn't true. But so then we're having brunch, and she got 2 text messages and a call. The text message said there's a SWAT team across the street, and the call was from a detective asking her if she knew where I was. And so
What
going
were
back
they trying to arrest you for?
no, they weren't trying to arrest me. The police here called up there and requested a SWAT team be dispatched to apprehend me, but they didn't tell them that I hadn't committed any crime. That all I had done was expose the criminal activity of some of the upper, the deputy chief of police, who was the wife of one of my former high school coaches, who was the head of the supervising magistrate for like 19 counties in Southwest Virginia, including where we were.
Mm-hmm.
And then I found out that the hospital had announced they had briefed the entire staff the day before I was even picked up to be evaluated that I was going to be coming there the next day, and advised them on what to say and what not to say, and to avoid, because I had worked for the mental health system and for that community service board where the hospital is for a couple of years. After I started a nonprofit after the shootings at Tech to raise awareness for mental health as a way to prevent school shootings.
Oh, wow.
And did that for 8 years.
Good for you. Yeah. Well, good for you. I'm good.
Well,
I mean, well, yeah. So you're a whistleblower. Yeah, you are.
And then they use all that against me. Yeah. Pretty.
Yeah. Well,
frustrating.
what? Yeah. And so what I found out is that they put all of us once we become a whistleblower or a dissident or whatever you want to call it, they put us on something called a targeted individual list. Did you know that you were put on that list?
Oh yeah, it's also the federal terrorist watch list. It's not non-investigative subject. It's also the federal terrorist watch list. We could put on under the title non-investigative subject. Yeah. Yeah,
and the FBI is involved. So
yeah,
if anyone wants to look this up, huh?
Yeah, the FBI. They showed up and profiled me, and one of the profilers later on told me that I wasn't on the list anymore. And he admitted to being FBI, and then he recanted when I asked him if he could, allow me to meet with somebody so I could, pursue charges against, my civil rights being violated and hate crimes committed against me still to this day, with my rights being denied from the local school system, actually. Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Here's what it is.
Well,
people like you.
Anybody can look at.
Yeah. I mean, people like you, people like Tommy, you run across some of these things, and what goes through your head is this: oh my God, somebody needs to know about this. So you think you're doing the right thing, which you're doing the right thing, and then you're treated like you have just done such wrong.
Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a way to legitimize the budgets for the fusion centers and everything that's put into place after 9/11. When they realized that there was really not that much terrorist activity going on in the United States, but they still wanted to keep their jobs and to fund this, so they started bloating the list by letting anybody suggest people. I mean, it's
but the problem with this, Tommy,
FBI, state police,
the problem with that terrorism, Tommy, is it came from within and had nothing to do with the American people. It had to do with people that wore bigger pants.
Yeah, most of the terrorism is at the hands of the CIA and the FBI and Homeland Security.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so that's what I found out, is that this mostly started after 9/11, when Bush implemented the Patriot Act, and we all thought it was that's when law enforcement got the authority to start spying on all of us, and that's what started just amped this whole targeted individual. And then come to find out, the reason why it was called Patriot Act is because they were targeting the patriots, not the terrorists.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's when and we all thought they were doing it was, for our safety, and it turned out to be the absolute opposite.
Yeah, they
That's
see
when
us as the
schools
enemy.
got up against.
Right.
Yeah. So if anybody could look on it. So I find when I found out that I had been put on this list or heard this term, I looked up targeted individual program, and then if you go to images on Google, you can see the chart of all the agencies involved. It's a real program. So it's like you
Wow.
said, fusion centers. They're the call center, CIA out of Denver. It's the Shriver Air Force Base. It's all the police and all the paramedics are in on it. And then you got the gang star part, which are like snitches for the police.
Yep.
And all this stuff. It's all paid. They're all paid. And you know where the money's coming from? Homeland
Corporation.
Security.
Yes.
They're
Yep.
getting
And
paid
slush.
by Homeland Security to target our own citizens.
Yeah, and it
Yep.
includes all kinds of different organizations. There's the private sector with the infrastructure, like a lot of like heating and air, and like a lot of trades are involved. Of course, through the Masons, but also like several churches, like church bodies throughout the United States, are also involved, and it's repugnant what people will do for money, and also they're lied to to kind of weaponize their ideology. Yeah, it's pretty sick, it's what they basically got the playbook from the East Germany. It's the East German word for decomposition. It's like it's Zerzgerger or something like that. I can't remember exactly how it's pronounced. Yeah, but that was what the stock. And they get the citizen spies. They get your neighbor to spy on you, and in targeting program, they actually move people in around you. And they'll buy the properties, put them in there. And then there's other aspects of targeting too. Once you get on there, they target your neurological data. They're constantly not just hitting you with direct energy weapons. They're also it's your medical body area network, which is kind of something that just kind of coming to light more in the mainstream, and that's where they turn us all into basically receivers and transmitters, and we are the internet of people, of humans. They're turning us into the nodes of the internet.
Yep.
And that's also how they can target us. It's not just through the cell tower, also through the appliances in our home, and the dirty energy, electricity through the grid in through your home. But your phone can target you.
That's probably why they're putting in these new smart meters. They call them.
Yeah, exactly. And the smart chips and all the appliances.
The appliances, yeah. So it's through the appliances, and it's also CERN is involved.
Yep.
CERN is what is putting out the energy, and then it's hitting the towers, and then it's hitting our heads. That's my understanding. So trying to put us all on mind control.
Yeah, it's pretty. They target the body area network, which taps into your EEG, which is your they call it a brain print, but it's like a fingerprint. It's individual each person. So I had an EEG taken and my brain mapped, but when I went to a neurological rehab after I had the SWAT team and sent after me after I went to the hospital, thinking that I was going to actually get some treatment. And when I was there, I was actually assaulted with the neurofeedback machine when they were mapping it the first time, and after that they had my brain print, and the targeting ramped up like crazy. I mean, I never saw a doctor the entire time I was there, and I wound up with MRSA while I was there. And it wasn't until I took pictures of some HIPAA violations and showed it to them, saying, be awful if you guys lost your license because of this. And then they sent me home with flying colors. Yeah,
it would be awful if you lost your license just because of this.
Yeah. It was awful. It was funded by the NFL and the DoD, and there were
Wow.
it was in Jacksonville, Florida. It's called the Eisenhower Center, and like
Wow.
most people that were there at the
Wow.
time were 5 of us, and there were 2 women that were Army corpsmen that had PTSD real bad, and then a couple guys in the NFL. I was the first football player that was non-NFL. They were seeing these lawsuits coming through where guys just played in college were suing the NCAA and their schools. So they were trying to develop the model for that in case a slush fund came in to pay for rehab or treatment for these other guys where there was going to be a set amount of money that they could tap into.
Mm.
So, so Debbie, how is all this affecting you like nowadays? I mean, are you able to breathe a little freely? Are they still being pain in the butts?
Okay, so speaking of medical, for a while there, the police, were kind of leaving me alone, but they've been targeted at jobs. I've been targeted. They find a way that they can to not keep me at a job, fire me for no reason. And I've had my emails and phone hacked and everything for years. It's just never ending. But the latest thing that happened to me, speaking of HIPAA and all these different things. Okay, so the police recently started ramping up their harassment against me here. I'm in the Minneapolis area. Again, because I'm speaking out and doing different things, and they don't like that. So they've been stalking me right at the VA here, right at the VA. So the last time I went in there, I was just supposed to go in there for an MRI the other day, and I don't like to get any of that stuff done. I don't like the radiation, but I was just I never had it done. So I thought, okay, I'll just, my primary. And so I go in there, and there's I saw a police officer give me a dirty look when I was going in. And then all of a sudden that same police officer ended up in the room where I was supposed to go for my appointment. And I just got this bad vibe, and I just didn't feel safe. And I just walked out because I really didn't even want to get that done to begin with. And so I walked out. It made me feel uncomfortable. And then so that happened a few weeks ago. And then just yesterday, yesterday, I went in there to try to get my eyeglasses fixed at the eye shop that they have there. And I got my slip, and I was just going to wait in line. And then I go downstairs, and I was getting something to eat. And then I saw 3 police walk out of the patient records room. Patient records. It was like library. And I didn't think anything of it. I was just like, I'm going to avoid the police. So I'm going to go back up to my appointment, and I don't know, But then I started thinking about it, and I'm like, why were the police just in the patient records room? Isn't that where all of our information is, like our addresses, our postal addresses and everything? And so then then I made I told people about that when I got out, and I said normally the police, I've never seen the police in that room. Anytime they're supposed to be in that room, unless they have a warrant or some reason be in there, that would be like a HIPAA violation and everything, and that would be like they could have plumaged through all the veterans, got all the veterans information in the whole AVA system, in that, and with all of our addresses. And so that was a total violation of my rights, and I freaked out, and I've told a bunch of people now about it. And I think that they just compromised all of the veterans in the state by letting the police in there. And I'm furious about it. I'm going to talk to them on Monday and say, you better have a very good reason why you had the police in that room, because I saw them. I just have
they request the records of what they
walking out of the Patriot store, and here they come out of that room. and nobody knows why they were in there. Excuse me, what was that about?
So
You know,
the VA employees didn't know why they were in there.
no.
Yeah,
Well,
Well,
I mean,
that's
call
crock
them
of crap because,
I mean,
what did
call
they,
them on.
somebody had to open the door for them.
Exactly. Why were you in there?
and couldn't they just have requested?
These are the, with as much harassment I've had about from the police, and I know they violated so many of my rights, that I definitely wouldn't trust them in that room, because then they'd be like, oh, what's her personal address so we can go stalk her at her house. I mean, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a total. I think they just violated. I think by whoever let them in that room just compromised all of the veterans in the whole state. They're
Yep.
probably getting the veterans' information to go after our guns.
Yeah.
I don't trust
Definitely,
at all.
definitely.
They're all Masons.
If they have information of your medical history, then they can target you medically too. And if they have,
yeah, that was a total. I mean, the police, all of the people involved in letting them in that room, just needs to go to jail. They compromised all of us in the state, or the
definitely.
whole VA system by letting them in there.
And undermines the trust of the VA itself. And
Yeah, I need that. They need to be in serious trouble, and I'm gonna make sure everybody knows. I'm telling it right now. It happened just a couple days ago. Just yesterday, and so I don't even feel, I can't even feel safe going to a VA appointment. Just going to my benefits that I did almost 20 years before this whistleblower thing happened. I did.
Right. So you're entitled. You're entitled there.
Yeah, I was in for 15 years before the whistleblower thing. Yeah, 15 honorable service, not one thing on my record, and I can't even go in to the VA without being harassed by the police. And then they're running through our medical records.
Do you have an attorney there in
Excuse
Minneapolis?
me?
Yeah.
No, I don't. I just don't do anything with for attorneys or anything much. I just don't trust the thing.
Yeah. Well, there's maybe a civil rights advocate or somebody that can represent you in communicating with the VA about that HIPAA violation or about that breach of trust. And it
maybe
seems like
I can find a civil rights something.
Yeah, civil rights advocate.
Civil rights advocate. Yeah.
There's a national that has a thing in Virginia. I can get you the information too. I have to get in my phone.
Yeah. I just catch them, and then that would also be considered a Fourth Amendment violation. Fourth Amendment violation, the right to be secure in my own home, in my own property, without illegal seizure.
Yes.
So it was a constitutional violation to allow them in there, and it was a civil rights violation. So I don't know who you're messing with, but I know the laws. I've had so much stuff happen to me that I've had to be really smart, and I catch them in their stuff, and I've gotten out of these tickets because I know the law. I've gotten out of some of their dumb tickets because I had to be my own attorney. I couldn't afford anybody. Yeah, I've been severely targeted. Yeah.
Yeah.
Norma asked if some of that harassment and stuff continued during Trump's 4 years of presidency.
Started.
Oh, it was way better. It was way better. He had he had I mean, it was way better. I wasn't I was protected. He had me protected. Space Force was involved in my protection. Then since he hasn't been out, I've been in danger again. Yeah, and I was still being targeted, but that's I kept in contact with President Trump. He had information and so I was a part of helping him within some areas, providing
The phone
to
is
him
the phone is the
for
phone is
years.
breaking up, or the signal's breaking up a little bit there,
Signal.
Debbie. Yeah.
So because I was helping him, I was still in a lot of danger, and because I was writing in, telling him more information,
Right.
that I knew and stuff for a while. Because they made sure that I had like a contact person before I left the tower, because they knew I was telling, it was a big story, and so that I had a contact person that I could write into and get more information, and I was the whole time he was in, and so I was still in a lot of danger, but I was protected. Yeah, he kept me protected.
Tommy, Norma asked, "What about you?" While Trump was in, how bad was it? You're muted, Tommy. You're muted.
Still can't hear you. There you
Right
are.
now.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Mine started under the Trump administration in 2017. To my knowledge, as far as the actual targeting TI program, I was in buffered, I guess, with handlers and stuff going back to like high school or maybe before, from some other programs that I was in that weren't associated with being a whistleblower. And it wasn't until I didn't find out about all this, like have it confirmed, until 2020, when my handler broke her cover and told me that she was an asset of the CIA and showed me internal documents and so that she'd gotten a dossier about this dick in 2009, which is when I was running the nonprofit, the Heart of Virginia Foundation, after the shootings at Virginia Tech, and it had been part of it as a way to disrupt that, because maybe they didn't want their hand in what happened at Virginia Tech to come to light, and it was a psyop. I mean, it was a tragedy, but it's also a psyop. And then, I mean, there were several. There was in this area. There's at Virginia Tech the following fall. There was one student that beheaded another student in front of about 20 people at a cafe on campus. And then another student, a Radford University student who didn't have any history of violence, suddenly purchases a handgun, goes and steals a car at gunpoint from the secretary of his property manager, and drives that to Blacksburg, parks it out on the Smart Road, and then takes the BT into campus, and then walks up to a police car sitting there giving somebody a ticket, and shoots the police officer in the head, and then runs to retreated to the greenhouses in the horticulture department, changed clothes, spray painted something on the wall, which I'm still trying to figure out what that was that he painted or that he wrote, and then went to this one parking lot at the edge of campus where on campus students parked their car, and a police officer saw somebody in between two cars, and then when he got up there, that person had unalived themselves. And then there was another situation where the son of two biology professors at Virginia Tech, who was on campus that day helping his parents with a PowerPoint presentation, he leaves to go home to have lunch, and then gets a rifle and goes to the community college at the mall campus and shoots 3 people. And I had been on the phone with the biology supervisor of the biology department that afternoon, who was my academic advisor as an athlete there, as I was trying to get everything together to where I was trying to finish my degree. And there's all kinds of stuff that happens that, because there wasn't 33 people that died and 25 more that got wounded, doesn't ever hit anything more than the local news, because it's not sensationalized enough. It's like we've reached this. I mean, coming back, started a nonprofit organization. I came back from California. I was trying to understand the situation and the whole phenomenon, and so I immersed myself in trying to understand mental health, and spent a bunch of time like studying the phenomena of mass shootings and school shootings, and saw this trend. And then 3 years after the Tech massacre, I'd written like a 27-page paper. I had a bunch printed, and was going to send them out to press across the United States of different editors and news desks that we had gotten information from the chairman of our board of directors' son was shot at Tech, and he had been contacted by all these folks in the days following the shootings because they wanted to talk to Derek about what happened and get him got to get him on, be the first to get that story and get that tragedy right there while it's fresh. And so Roger had just kept all that information. So I had 40 copies that were printed at Kinko's in Asheville, North Carolina, where I was living at the time. And they told me they were ready. And when I went to pick them up, they said they didn't have them. And the guy was super nervous. And then we found them shredded in the trash can. So somebody had gotten to them, scared them. And then that in turn freaked me out. So, the targeting had gone back. That was 2009. That was about the same time that the handler had gotten the dossier on me in Virginia. But it's weird. It's something I spent maybe 400 hours researching different things just to come to the conclusion that it was this thing called gang stalking or target individual, because it's not like a known thing. It's hidden. It's something that's it's crazy. It's trying to make you look crazy.
Well, I know that nowadays, because I looked stuff up, and I know that now they do actually have stuff on it, because I've been doing the research on that, Tommy. I told you, and I have found, oh my God, hours and hours of stuff on it. I mean, it's incredible. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, but there's also a lot of disinformation, and there's conflicting stuff to try to make it. And a lot of the mainstream stuff is like target individuals, or is this just psychosis? And it's a way to plant dissent and to use that against it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it drives you crazy. I mean, it makes you unwell. And they do that to try to get you to like act in some way violently, or to get you to put in a hospital, because that discredits you too. Because they're just crazy. You can't believe them.
Exactly. Now, they do things to purposely instigate you.
Yeah.
Purposely instigate you to make you get a rise out of you, or make you get upset. And
a lot of mass shootings are conducted by targeted individuals.
What?
Yeah.
A lot of mass shootings and acts of violence. Yeah. Like
right.
the Parkland.
Yeah. They purposely, and some of them are on mind control that do the mass violence, or they're targeted, and they're
both. Both.
Anyway,
now Debbie, we are getting ready to take a 5-minute break. We usually do that in between hours.
Okay.
So you can get a cup of coffee, use the bathroom, what have you. Before we go on break, Susie, was there anything that you wanted to add before we go on break?
Well,
okay.
I mean, there's only like 2 minutes until there's only a couple minutes to take a break. And whenever we come back, I'll ask you a couple of questions, Debbie. But I'm just listening to you guys. It's a really interesting, because you both are like the experts on this. Okay. So you lived it. So I'm just listening and learning.
Right. Okay. Well, then we're going to go ahead and do that. Everybody out there, our drill and how we do this. We're going to be gone for about 5 minutes. Please stick around, and we will be right back.
Break it down. Break it down.
And we're back. Oh, where did Tommy go? I wanted to tell him thank you so much. Where did he go? I wanted to thank him for jumping in with us tonight, because I'll tell you what, I am not feeling as good as I did last night. I don't know if it's because I got up early today and stayed up and pushed myself. I shouldn't have done that, probably. I think I need somebody to get a newspaper and swat me in the nose a couple times. Bad Brenda, bad Brenda. So, what is this? Okay. All right, Tommy's phone's messing up, so he's probably not going to be back. Let me deal with that. But go ahead, Susie. You had some questions for Debbie? Susie? Can you hear me? Susie, I can't hear you. Can't hear you at all.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, you can hear me. Okay.
Where'd you go, Susie? Go out, come back in. Technical difficulties tonight, which I can tell, and I think it's because of topic, because I've been watching the feed and it's been doing things it normally doesn't do, which I'm used to. And the people who watch our show know that if YouTube cuts us out, just wait, because what I'll do is I'll wait till we're done. It'll be downloaded and I'll post it back up because I'm smart that way. All right, try it now, Susie.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What are we? A bunch of targeted individuals tonight?
I think so.
Okay. That seems to be Because I notice, Debbie, your phone every now and then it kind of gets like targeted or something. I hear it making weird noise. So, Debbie, when
Weird.
years ago, I know you came out to our place and stuff, to the ranch and stuff, and you brought those kids out there that were from Virginia, I guess, or they had, well, actually, they were part of the
I don't,
eugenics program, and they had been
mm-hmm.
sterilized, and they had come, and I remember them telling their story and stuff, and then you kept getting arrested when I guess you were in San Antonio at the time. Is that right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I
So
was
go
out of the
ahead.
winter. I left the winter in Minnesota. And I was like in a trailer park in Texas one year. Because I mean, I just was being targeted here sadly in different places, and so I just thought I would try that. And yeah, and then yeah, I met them. They heard my story because I was exposing this one police officer that had illegally pulled me over in Idaho, and they saw my story on YouTube, and then they had been illegally targeted by that same police officer. So she found a way to reach out to me, and she found out all kinds of information about crimes happening in Idaho that she shared with me, and she had footage of literally this police officer beating up her husband on a minor traffic stop, and all she did was try to go over and try to get him off of her, and then she was facing the police officer was trying to charge her with some kind of disorderly thing for trying to get the police officer off her husband, and so but he was trying to charge her with a felony, or something, they made up some really horrible charge, and she literally, she was just being targeted super bad in Idaho. And then and I told her, I said, well, just correspond with there, but if you're getting targeted that bad, you should probably leave the state. And then so she came down and stayed at the trailer park for a while, and that's where I met her. And then we came and we met you and Penny, and we ended up meeting. But yeah, they were born. They were put into the foster care system in Idaho, and she was witness to
Okay, your phone is breaking up. Hang on. All I heard was they were put into a foster care system. Go ahead and start from there.
Yeah, apparently she had just like some horror stories from some things she had seen in the foster care system in Idaho, and that's good. So she became a whistleblower or like a witness to, some people being molested or whatever there, or something. And
Yeah.
so she be her for speaking out. Yeah, that's what.
There's that phone there. Is it doing again, Brenda? Is it breaking up again?
Yeah, it keeps bouncing up and down.
Whenever your voice gets like targeted, I'll let you know. So you said, I heard the part that she was molested in the foster care, and then your phone got like something was
I don't
attacking your voice.
I don't know if she was, but she was witness to other girls getting molested. Yeah, and I think she was too. I don't know. I don't remember the whole story, but then she was also just targeted like crazy, and like I said, they euthanized her and her husband and both. I think they met right in the foster care system somehow, or something. And then but yeah, and so so yeah, it was. But then, yeah, she just disappeared. I don't know.
Okay, so so what happened? I remember you said you guys were at the trailer park. You had gotten arrested and were in jail or something, and she called, and you got in touch with her, or she called you in the jail or something, right? And then next thing you know, she said there was somebody outside their house with a gun, and they disappeared, and you never seen them again, never heard from them again. But they have been. There she goes.
All right,
These.
We all know how this works. We all get in trouble for every time somebody wants to spew the truth, and they just attack. So
these kids were. I'll go ahead and talk until she gets back on. These children were there. I had done a lot of research on the eugenics program. It was started by, I believe it was the.
That was a big glitch happened. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was the Rockefellers. The Rockefellers started the eugenics program out of Virginia, and they were sterilizing all these children and everywhere. They were, anybody that they felt wasn't part of their bloodline, they were sterilizing them. And these two kids, they had been sterilized. Yes. And so they had, we brought them to the house. I got to meet them. They're very sweet. And she had done her genealogy, isn't that right? And found out that she was related to Jesus and Mary Magdalene in her bloodline, right?
Yeah. Yep. She sent in her ancestry DNA. She sent in.
You're getting hit again. Your voice is like in and out. We can't hear you because it's like. It sounds like you're in a room that's bouncing around. Your voice is bouncing around on the wall or something.
If you watch, if you can see her, oh, there she goes.
There she goes again.
If you can see the lines on the bottom next to the microphone, it shows when the internet goes down, goes up and down.
Yeah, I can't see it on there, but.
Up. Wait.
Yeah.
She is.
Yeah, they turn.
You see,
yeah.
Look, we're talking about being targeted, and we cannot hear anything she's saying.
I mean, Debbie, go back out and come. Okay, wait. Now we see you. Oh, now we see you.
Now. We could see you now. Okay, yes. Go ahead. See if we can hear you.
Okay.
Nope. Oh my God. Okay, so this is insane. So we lost Tommy, we lost Debbie. I mean, talk about two targeted individuals, right?
Yeah,
and now we're getting seriously targeted here.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm a very, very seriously targeted person. And this happens to me every day. This has been a part of my life now. It's right? The worst thing you could possibly imagine.
So these children, I was saying, she did a genealogy and found out she was related to Jesus and Mary Magdalene, and then you were also related in what way?
I was like a fourth cousin. Yeah.
Fourth.
We
okay.
talked to your friend Penny, and Penny said, "Oh, if you're usually the people that are targeted are in some kind of list with the Illuminati. It has to do with your bloodline." So then when she heard that. She said, "I wonder if this all has to do with my bloodline, that I've been targeted like my whole life." And then she got this DNA back, or then she got this really detailed report from Ancestry.com, and it actually showed her as a completely in Jesus and Mary Magdalene bloodline. And like kings and queens from the past,
from the Norse, the Norse kings,
from a royal bloodline,
right. That would be the Odin bloodline. The Norse would be the line of Jesus. Yeah, and that's actually Jesus. I am related to Jesus and Mary Magdalene also, but I don't usually say that. But the whole family, like Joseph Arimathea and the Virgin Mary, they're all in my genealogy on my mom's side. So but my dad's side goes to Odin, but on my mom's side, I've traced it all through the Holy Family. So I believe that bloodline, they know who we are. They target us, and I believe that's why I've been targeted and handled as well, because because we talk to God, and they don't hear from God, and they want to know what God's talking. They want to know what God's saying. So, because God doesn't talk to them. Yeah.
Tommy, while he's trying to get on, just ran a report of his computer. And it came up all kinds of stuff. So he has got a lot of interference going on with his phone right now. He showed me the layouts of what he just pulled off, and it's very interesting stuff.
Wow.
So he's having a hard time getting on, and he sent me the pages to show me. I mean, he's got stuff bouncing off of him from Singapore to who knows where. So
Oh,
wait a minute, here he comes. Here he comes.
oh,
Come on,
well,
Gonzo.
Sort of.
Sorta. Well, you know what? Here it is, guys. We always know we're doing it right when they're messing with us.
I had, oh, Tommy, so you just had stuff happen on your computer?
Oh, my phone. Yeah, it's they attacked the camera and the WebKit through my Apple through my iPhone, and I can tell through the analytics, and you can't find anything out about the analytics online because they have a bunch of spooks working for them as shills to dissuade people from trying to figure out what they're actually doing with our phones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was just on my Navy Federal, since I'm military, I bank with Navy Federal Credit Union, and I went to my security area checking on some stuff, and I saw some other person that tried to log in from a Mac computer, and I don't have a Mac computer. You can catch them that way on different things, like when you go to the security area of your,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
you hear.
You got to get the FBI to actually answer the phone and investigate it. And they won't.
But they won't, huh? No,
Yeah.
I when I first came back from Arizona, and I was getting literal death threats right on my phone. And
Yeah.
I saved them. I mean, I had them, and they were like just flat out saying, "We're gonna take you down, David." Stuff like that. Just flat out death threats right on my phone. And I tried
Oh
going,
God.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
I recently was in the hospital for 2 weeks. I get
Yeah.
a telephone call from a New York phone number. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I even gave the number to Tommy to look it up. And
Yep.
they told me, well, I'm in the hospital, damn near dying anyways. They're like, you better shut your mouth or we're going to kill you. I'm like, well, I'm in a pretty secured hospital right now. I can give you the address if you would like. Because, I mean, right now I'm in such bad shape,
Oh God.
What are you going to do? Make me feel better? I was not in the mood. Don't call me when I'm damn near half dying in the hospital and threaten me with a good time. Okay? It's like, no.
Brenda,
Shut up.
you are-
It's like, I'm thinking, do you want my Dilaudid? You can have it. So
I'm so glad that you don't get in the state of fear. So many people are in.
I'm going to tell you, I was brought up a military brat. My uncle was close with Michael Aquino. He was a 4-star general.
Oh wow.
I was involved in stuff no child should have ever been involved in. And my family wanted me to join the military, and I looked at my uncle and said, no, I have a problem with authority. And he said, well, it's okay. We can put you through school and put you in high rank. No, because I'm still going to have somebody I got to answer to, and I have a problem with authority. You hear what I'm saying? A problem with authority. And, growing up with him, you think he would have known better that I had a problem with authority. I learned how to use my middle finger at the age of 6, okay? And knew what it meant. So, no, I have a problem with authority. But I sit and often think sometimes, because the type of person that I am, I don't think that would have worked for me, because I'd have ended up probably getting killed, because I would not have been for this stuff that they do.
Oh, I couldn't. I couldn't be in it anymore. After what happened, I didn't save or come re-enlisting to get the rest. And they just, they made it so horrible for me.
Yeah. And you think I would have learned being a military brat? No, I married into the military twice. Twice.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes. So Oh yeah, so these, I don't know what happened to those people still to this day, those kids. They ended up moving out of the, they were staying temporarily at the trailer park just to get away from Idaho for a while, but she was corresponding with the court. She didn't like miss her court date or anything. She was still corresponding. But she was being targeted in Idaho. And then all of a sudden, there really wasn't anywhere to stay in the trailer park. And so they had to leave and try to find somewhere else to stay. And they found some room for rent or something. And then I got an email for her. She said there's a guy with a gun outside. And that's the last I've ever heard from her. That was in Texas.
What year was that?
That was that was just a couple years ago now. Yeah. Her name was Jamie Burke. And she has YouTube videos up. And
Wow.
Story.
And they just vanished. They just vanished after that. They were good kids. They were really good kids. I really, really, really liked them. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Sweet.
Yeah. Just trying to figure out what was going on and why we're all being so targeted. Like we all are trying to figure it out.
You would think with as much as they've been screwing around, I talk about the powers to be, and as much stuff as they've got to worry about, they would leave all of us little people alone and let us say what we're going to say, because you know what? It's already out in the open. People know our government is so corrupt and dirty, it ain't even funny. And it's been that way for years. Leave us alone. We're over here enlightening people that have no clue, and those are the ones that need it.
Yeah, but a third of the population is susceptible to the hypnosis. Another third is somewhat susceptible. And those folks, I mean, they're not going to believe it anyway, because it's so far outside of what they've been taught through, like, legacy media through our whole lives. It's too easy to dismiss because it's too difficult to do the research to understand that it's real. And it's too disturbing. They don't want to. If you do research it, you end up getting targeted.
With the stuff that I have just recently learned about witchcraft and about these dark arts. When I was Wicca, I knew about this stuff, but didn't play with that stuff. Had a good group of people I hung out with because we loved nature. If you'd have told me 10 years ago what happened to me in those 2 weeks I was in the hospital happened because of that, I'd have told you you're crazy. Okay? Period. There ain't no way. But knowing what I know now, it's like this world is not what people think it is. And until they all come to grips with the reality of it, if it falls down on their heads, they're not going to know what the hell to do. I say turn off that stupid news. Get off that damn news. Get off them lying. Get off of them. Find somebody you can trust that makes sense.
But who can you trust?
Have that person talk to you.
Yeah.
Who can you trust?
It's so hard.
I mean, I'm talking about, people like us. And we have people that look, we have people right now that listen to this show that are in our chat that I message back and forth, and we talk all the time. Okay. And those people have told me since this has started and they've gotten listening to people and listening to us, they've learned so much. There are people that they can trust. Yes, you do have to be careful. Mark last night, he laid it out. He could have 50 people on his thing, and 30% of those people are scammers, fakes.
They're controlled opposition,
with what Susie and I just went through. I mean, Susie was there for that person for 7 years, and boom, all of a sudden it's like, where the hell did that person come from? Who is this?
I think that when you were visiting, that she somehow exposed you to something that may have contributed to your physical illness. And the thing that you found on the floor, a lot of times, I suddenly had dealt with all kinds of different exotic parasites that I would have had no exposure to anywhere. I haven't been to Africa.
Well, I will tell you, it was more than that, because there was some things and some feelings, and I made her feel. I drew that out.
When you call a narcissist out for being a narcissist and doing what they do,
I didn't have to call her out for anything. All I had to do was be there. And I
that's
told Susie
that's the
that
direction.
I told Susie that way before. If there is a demon, if there is something in there, I don't even have to call it out. All I've got to do is be around it, and it will show its ugly head. And it showed
Mhm.
its ugly head. The day I was leaving, right in front of Susie, it showed its ugly head, just bam, out of nowhere. And it went downhill from there. So
And so
it
you
was,
think witchcraft? Somebody did a witchcraft spell on you to make you that sick?
oh, yes, we're absolutely positive.
Okay.
We are
Yeah.
absolutely positive. I had a visitor in the hospital the night before I came home.
Big part
And
of gardening hit.
and that visitor that I had in the hospital before I came home, they were going to keep me another week. We wouldn't have been on this weekend either. And they were going to keep me another week because they had no idea what was going on. I had 6 doctors and they're scratching their heads trying to figure out what on God's creative earth is happening here. And that visitor came in. I don't know her, never met her, never seen her. When she walked in, I looked her in the eyes, and she came and sat on the end of my bed. And that woman told me what was happening, and told me who was doing it, and told me what Susie and I needed to do to get rid of it. And I mean, just straight, and I mean, she blew my mind. It was incredible. And
A
then
complete stranger didn't even know us. Yeah.
Then she sat there with her hand on my stomach, and she just looked me in the eye, and she talked to me, and she smiled at me, and she told me, everything's going to be okay, and you're stronger than you know, and I'm going to be here. And the next morning, the doctor walks in and says, I don't know what the hell's going on here, but you're level enough that if you want to go home, you can go home. I was like, well, yeah, I'm out, you know? Yeah.
You
And
guys
it
You
familiar-
had an angelic encounter. It sounds like.
Well, we
You know,
had
Debbie,
everything-
you know, your
everything
your
in my
sister.
alphabet,
You told
Debbie,
me your
everything-
sister is a practicing witch, right, Debbie?
Yeah.
I did not know this growing up, and but it's become clear now that she's a part of my target, you know, for a lot of my life, and it's very unsettling. But you know, like she's taken hairs off my brushes, that kind of thing. I didn't know what that was at the time when she was doing that kind of thing. But yeah, now that I look back, I'm putting the pieces together. I didn't know anything about witchcraft, but yeah, that is, the witches have been a huge part of my targeting. They have created storms, you know, like where it'll just be super nice out and all of a sudden it'll be raining like 2 minutes later. When I was in South, they can do this. People don't understand what they're capable of.
Yeah.
And they're a big part of working with they're the Eastern Star. Well, it's witches and warlocks, and they're working with they're masons and witches. The Eastern Star are female masons, and most of them are witches. And
they can also
so I would like one time because I have my house in South Dakota, and I have to go to town. It's a ways. I have to drive to get to Walmart, for instance, or whatever. And it was like, well, just, you know, totally fine day. It wasn't, there was nothing happening in the weather, you know. And then literally but by the time I started in my car and I saw this woman look at me, and she did something in the sky, or she made some kind of movement or something in the Walmart parking lot, and literally it started like 2 minutes into the drive, it started snowing.
Debbie,
And by the time
we
I got
didn't
to
hear
my
anything you
house,
just said. You said it literally, and then what else? What came
Oh.
after literally?
Okay, so I saw this woman in the Walmart parking lot. The house is like
There it goes
towards,
again. It's breaking up again. Hang on a minute, Debbie. Okay.
Okay.
Just let's
Okay.
give it a couple minutes, and then you can come back. Because okay,
Okay.
What I was going to say was that I think we've all been targeted. We've all been handled by certain people. And to the, when you're serving God, okay, it's like the enemy. And then, what it is these demons enter into these different people. These demons are handling us, manipulating us, causing us problems, but they come like your friend, they come like a sister, and or a family member, right? But their demons are to control us, to keep us from doing what we're supposed to be doing, right?
Sometimes the
Okay,
demon
go.
is narcissism.
What,
Yeah, it's
Go
a
ahead.
spiritual.
hang,
Yeah,
hang
it's a
on.
spiritual.
Hang on. Tommy,
you
what
hear
was
me?
that?
Yeah.
Hold on, Debbie.
Give
I
it a
said-
minute,
Yeah.
Debbie.
I said
That's okay.
the demons are in the form of narcissism. It's it's a psychological like disorder. It's cluster B, personality disorders. Those are the main people who engage in gang stalking and this type. They're sociopaths. I mean that's one part of it. That's anti
Yeah.
social personality. That's sociopathy, and Machiavellianism. And these people get off on abusing people, and it's
Mm-hmm.
and it's a part of their their the way they were raised and the abuse that they went through, that they developed this as a coping mechanism. But then that's been organized through things like the CIA that utilize dark psychology as a way to control and manipulate people and nation states and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Have you guys heard of
Mm-hmm.
Robert Duncan, Dr. Robert Duncan?
Dr. Robert
was,
Duncan.
Mhm.
I've heard of it.
He had agreed to let me interview him. He was a DARPA CIA whistleblower that developed a bunch of the direct energy weapons and stuff that caused the Savannah syndrome and all kinds of different cyber torture. Essentially, is what it is. He died this past week.
Oh,
no.
wow.
Yeah, he targeted to death. But he lived in Boise, Idaho, and you live in South Dakota. What part of South Dakota? I mean, you don't have to say exactly. We did some
South Dakota.
Right now, I'm in Minneapolis, but I own a.
Uh-oh.
Okay. We did some shows in Alcester at one point, like Labor Day shows.
Okay.
South of Great Falls, I guess. Beautiful area.
Great Falls. Okay. Yeah. 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 No, it was just a lot less expensive to buy property there. So and I was being in Minnesota really bad. I had a friend out there that I would go visit, and then he was what happened is he was putting up his property that he on a family estate sale, estate auction. He was auctioning off some stuff, and so that's how I ended up with property there. But
Cool.
but yeah, so this witch in Walmart parking lot in Aberdeen. I mean, I saw her do some kind of weird hand motion to the sky. I mean, right in the middle of the parking lot, and then literally like by the time I got home, it was snowing so bad. It was literally like a whiteout. I almost couldn't all the way home. I couldn't see. I couldn't see at all. It was just like it was just so by the time, and it was like a perfect day.
They can manipulate weather with the HARP array too.
Debbie's broke up. Now we can't hear her.
Oh, is she frozen?
Yeah. It's just her phone just keeps breaking up. So
She's being disrupted too.
Yeah.
yes, they don't want you to tell your story, Debbie. So
I know. I got a lot of crap on them. They've done to me. You know how bad that makes our government look? I'm a veteran.
Uh-oh. Dang
Oh.
it. Look at there.
as soon as she said she was a veteran, then there she went.
I think
Yeah.
if we could try to to do connections with a hard line and a VPN, it would help things.
See, I've got that on
Okay.
I've got that on mine.
I gotta get I
Okay.
gotta get a computer where
Okay.
I got
Okay.
something set up to do this.
You know, I kind of wonder sometimes
Yeah.
if we do pre-recorded when we have touchy situations and have
Yep.
it recorded and then post it.
Yep.
Because I bet if we're recording, I bet it won't break like it does.
It'll be different. We'll lose the live feed interaction with
Yeah,
the,
and I hate to do that because I love our people
That's
when they're
true.
on there. You know, I do.
So
do.
we both definitely are in a
Yeah.
spiritual battle, and we're fighting demons, and we just have to be more
Definitely.
organized, and we have to work together to be able to fight this stuff and to know what we're up against.
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah, and I mean the witches are a lot bigger part of it than what you or I or anybody ever imagined, because they
Yes.
know the levels, like all this to do with Illuminati, everything, all these like cycles of the planets and everything. And I think it has to
Can't understand anything you're saying, Debbie. I mean,
They
Debbie,
sure are not letting her get it out.
you absolutely, that whole thing you just said, we can't hear.
Yep. Tommy,
you know,
you're painting. Tommy is painting. That's what he's been doing while we've been on
Debbie,
here.
you just got blacked out.
Yes, she
Okay.
did. I love when Tommy paints.
I've been having trouble with this, and it's just causing me a bunch of triggers and stuff. But
Can you hear me? Hear me now?
Look at there, Mr.
Nice.
Mr. Monarch Mouse.
Monarch Mouse.
yeah, it's just social commentary on the use of media to program us.
Okay.
And Walt Disney's involvement in SRA and all kinds of nastiness,
I've known that for a long time.
Right.
and the parks themselves.
Yes. I grew up in California. I had season passes to Disneyland, and my parents used to tell us all the time there were so many things that we had to watch out for. It wasn't even funny.
Just in plain sight.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, it's amazing how you go there and so many kids just like kind of disappear. There are cameras in every aspect of that park, on the rides, on everything. And then all of a sudden you can't find a kid.
And tunnels everywhere underneath it.
Yep.
Hidden entrances.
Hidden entrances, secret rooms that go into secret rooms that go into beyond.
That is so creepy.
Right. I had a personal encounter with the vice president of Walt Disney in Florida. He wanted to hire my husband to murder a girl because she was with a boy that he was trying to get with. His name was Michael Laney, and he was the vice president at Walt Disney in Florida. And we were in Orlando at a hotel. My husband met him at a bar, and he offered him $10,000 to kill this girl. Well, we tried to hide the girl and go get the $10,000 to give it to the girl so she could leave. And the henchman saw the girl in our room, came over and said something, and he picked up his gun and started chasing us, and we took off running, and we basically told her, like, you almost got us killed. Now you got to go. We got to go. See you later, And so that's my experience with Walt Disney. Okay. Not a good one.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
So Brent just asked if anybody's seen the opening of the Olympics. He said it was disgusting.
All these satanic
Really?
symbolism. All this satanic symbolism.
Well, the last one, what did they have? Doctors, nurses, hospital beds, pop COVID, right? Right. This one, they're doing Antichrist, end of times. Yeah, pretty creepy.
Oh, it totally creepy. Yeah, totally creepy.
I can't even believe that they're even entertaining this. Well, wait. Yes, I can believe it.
Proliferating it.
I can believe it. It's
They're basically just telling on themselves at this point. You know, they're just open, like becoming so obvious about it that you know, people are going to have to be forced to wake up. I mean, we just can't. You can't just talk about it. It's not going to go away. I mean,
right.
half of governments all over the world are Satanists,
It's okay.
and this subject is not going to go away. So
No.
we have to learn how to talk about it. It's not going to go away just because we're not dealing with it.
That's right.
You know, it doesn't get better. It doesn't, you know, it's not going to go away. This has been happening for decades. And and it's not just our government, it's many governments all over the world. They've been taken over by a satanic cult. And,
And
you know, we have to come to we have to just come to the reality that this is what has happened.
Yep.
You know, all over.
Yeah.
You know, Chet told me that he felt like when he was in the military, he felt like when Michael Aquino was kind of put in a position of power, that's when everything just kind of went really bad, like really bad. Like it wasn't that bad before, but
Mhm.
it went really downhill at that point because they introduced him because he had the ability and so he used demons, and so that was part of the military. Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
I think Tommy's had experience with Aquino. Brenda's had experience with
Oh,
Aquino.
hang on.
Yeah.
Okay. Now
Everybody
Susie
has had
is
bad
going in and
experiences
out.
that
I can
has
hear
been
fine.
targeted.
Yeah. Susie, hang on a minute. Check your earpiece because you're going in and out and you just got real low. And Tommy, go ahead.
I was going to say, Aquino was just a reflection of the Nazis they brought in after World War II during paperclip. He became like one of their proteges, and he took the occult slant of it as a way to deal with specific nation states, as to utilize the superstition that they would call it, and that he just amplified that to the Temple of Set, and by making that an actual recognized religion through the U.S. government, that gave it that much more power in the minds of people, and allowing it to be used to manipulate geopolitical figures and American citizens alike, mostly, and kids, a lot of kids, like with the McMinnville or the daycare and the Presidio and all that, and his own specific, pedophilia and child abuse as a way to program innocent young minds like myself when I was little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
The abuse.
Through
It
torture and manipulation. Yeah.
Right.
Needles in a gun.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
One thing I was saying, about the witches that before I got cut out is, they the whole Illuminati and the satanic cult. I mean, the witches are very familiar with like the lunar cycles, or like the cycles of everything, and all these rituals. Like they need to do things on certain dates or something, and it's like a big part of the whole thing, and they're a huge part of the Illuminati. The cycle, all their rituals they do on certain days.
Gnosticism.
Yeah, it's all. I mean, it's and yeah. I mean, they. That's a big part of it, and the witches are very familiar with these cycles or whatever. So that's a part of. Yeah. So so we have to learn what these satanic dates are, because usually there's an event, a bad event happens on those type dates, right? Like
Wasn't
they're
that what Mark
right.
was talking about that last night? He said, what day was it that somebody tried to assassinate Trump? The 13th.
On the 13th, yeah.
Friday. Oh yeah, the 13th. Yeah, exactly. Friday
And-
the 13th. So
and
Friday
that
the
line-
13th. So Friday the 13th, 1307 is when they killed the Knights Templars.
Yep.
That's where that date came from. It was when they got set up for treason or whatever, and then they were the ones. The real Templars were actually, the good guys, and they were protecting the royal relics. And then they got infiltrated after that day.
They were protecting the pilgrims from the
Yeah.
Muslim raiders that would attack them on the roads.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then they,
yeah, and I was just researching something because you said the Pilgrims came over here on the Mayflower.
Yep.
Or wait, see, okay. There's a story that a lot of people don't know, like our celebration of Thanksgiving came from the story from the Pilgrims, and the Pilgrims came over. They were fleeing persecution came over here in 1620 on the Mayflower, and the whole reason for coming over here is because they were fleeing religious persecution, and they came to Plymouth, Massachusetts, and they built a colony, that first colony that when the 13 original colonies, and they were all Christians, and we've never been taught this in our history, that they were all.
They were like extreme Christian, like was it Puritans?
They were Puritans. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were Puritans, and they don't tell us anything about this in learning history. That they were fleeing religious persecution, and all this stuff. They don't tell us the real story. But I just I found it's called. They made a Mayflower Compact when they came here, because they had to create laws because there was no laws here, and everything in the compact had to do with Christianity, and so they made a covenant with the land here. They made a covenant with the land and with God, and nobody tells this part of history, and they're trying to cover it up. They're trying to cover up their graves. Like, their graves had crosses and all kinds of stuff, and their graves have been pillaged and erased. They tried erasing the stones with the religious symbols on them and stuff.
Yeah, well, the Indians actually, they came to the aid of the Pilgrims with food and the local foods and harvest. That was the first Thanksgiving there. But yeah, the Puritans were they were so letter of the law within the Old Testament that it was in conflict with the king and with the aristocracy there.
Mm-hmm.
I actually just recently in the last 2 years found out that we had a relative that was or an ancestor that came over on the Mayflower. But the first two colonies were the Plymouth colony and the Virginia colony. And the Virginia colony in Jamestown disappeared when they came back from getting more provisions. There was just a sign that said Croatan. It was Lost Colony. It was Roanoke colony there in North Carolina on the Outer Banks. But that's related with Jamestown. Yeah.
So in the colony disappeared.
Yeah, everybody disappeared, and then later on, there were certain tribes, like the Melungeon tribes of Virginia, actually had characteristics of both African and European descent, and they have those genetic markers. And there's actually a group of Welsh folks that wound up in the United States. Welsh with red hair, interbred with Native Americans a couple hundred years before.
It's funny you say that. My grandma had red hair. My grandma was Welsh Irish, but on that side of my family, my 10th grandmother was Pocahontas. So yeah, that would yeah.
Really?
So you're related to my friend Preston. He's actually one of my gang stalkers too.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, he's. descendant of Pocahontas.
That's where the story of Pocahontas came from, because she was the one helping the pilgrims.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where the story of Pocahontas came from. She was a big help in helping them make sure they had food.
She was one of my grandmothers, 10th grandmother.
Yeah.
Hey guys, we've got about
Okay.
I want to say about 5 minutes left.
9 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
We have 9 minutes. Oh my gosh. Debbie, do you want to let everybody know where they could find you or help you with anything, how they can contact you?
If people want to, or have you come on the show, and maybe how they can, is there a way they can reach out to you?
Yep. Yeah. And my email is soldierdebbie@protonmail.com. Soldier, SOLDIERDBBIE @protonmail.com. If you want to email me, or my telephone number is 651-767-2892. You can call me. I mean, my constant issues with my phone though. I'll be sitting right here, and sometimes I get a text or a phone call, and they say it goes right to voicemail. So
651
as you can see. But you can find me on YouTube, if on Arizona National Guard Whistleblower. So I have a YouTube channel telling my story.
And Tommy wants to know what your phone number was again.
651-767-2892. Yes, I'd like to talk to you more, Tommy. Yeah, and so I am. Yeah, so but I'm really I should probably contact a civil rights person about what happened on Friday at the VA, because I think people need to know what happened there, and that violation. Really, can I see the warrant while you're in that room?
It seems it's. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't want to take more time on that. We'll talk privately about it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So, I can't even go to the VA without getting stalked by the police.
Right.
It's ridiculous. Yeah. So my targeting has been so extreme, but anyway, okay. So do you want? Yeah. So that's how they can contact.
Okay. And of course, Tommy, we hang on a second here. I got something here. Wait a minute. I gotta put that up. Give me.
Huh?
Tommy. Well, let me get this. I gotta find this. So we've got Tommy over here, Dr. Gonzo Bing Bong. Is his Cash App. If you guys would like to help him out on his little endeavors that he has got going on, and yeah, right. I'm telling you, it's some of these things are just so ridiculous for all of us. Yep. It's terrible. And then we got Susie. Of course, we're here, there, and everywhere, aren't we, Susie?
We are here on Friday and Saturday if they want to reach us, or Facebook,
Or the email is up here. And most everybody has my Facebook, so we've got good communication there. Sorry I wasn't as uppity today as I was yesterday. I think I overdid myself yesterday, wore myself out.
Well, you spent a long time in the hospital just coming back to life, so I'm just so happy that you're here and functioning. It's a miracle.
Yeah. Really. Yeah, my doctors were just dumbfounded, and I go to
Debbie, she got bit by a copperhead, and then she ends up having pancreatitis, and I mean one thing after another.
And it wasn't just that. It wasn't just that. When I went into the hospital, my pancreas, my liver, my gallbladder, my stomach, my kidneys, and my bladder were all 3 times the size they should have been. My stomach was so big and so hard that it was horrible. And it came like that. And then all of a sudden, after that woman came to see me in the hospital, went away. I mean, I still have a little swelling. My stomach is still pretty sore because, everything was just out of proportion for a week. And so yeah.
How did you get bit by this copperhead?
My God. That little thing that I just had in my hands was going for it. And, mommy's play roadblock. Mommy's
She tried to
Play-Doh
run
doll.
over it with her wheelchair, and it bit her right through her foot completely.
Wow.
You know, I'm going to tell you, this has been probably one of the most interesting couple of months I've ever had in my life. Just, you know, and I just keep thinking to myself, somebody is trying me, and I know they are. I know they're trying me. It's not working. Back off and leave me alone for a little while. Let me get some rest. You know, I can't, you know,
Wow.
I
it
know.
drive me crazy.
Oh Lord. Well,
And you know, and
Brett, thank you for that. You know, he asked me if I knew that scripture. I actually read the Bible 7 times from beginning to end, and I've spent, 30, 40 years in the church. So I pretty much know all the scriptures and most of the other, what should we say, Dead Sea Scrolls or documents or other. Yes. So thank you for that very much.
yeah. And then Tommy's on. Well, Tommy, talk about your locked out accounts.
Oh yeah, I'm locked out of my two of my X accounts. But the one that I have up that you can contact me through right now is Tommy Edwards at 1T Tommy Edwards 1T on X, Touchdown Tommy Edwards on Facebook and on Instagram, and I still haven't memorized my TikTok yet. And my OnlyFans is it's just videos and pictures of fans.
I can't believe you said that last night. I was thinking to myself, no, Tommy, you did not start an OnlyFans.
Yes, I did. Sir.
I about died. You know what you need to make?
And you
me a
should hear
monarch.
Tommy sing.
want a
I mean,
monarch
oh my
monkey.
God, Tommy, you have the greatest voice ever. Just saying. Just putting it
Tommy,
out there.
You need to paint me a monarch monkey.
I've got one.
He's going to sing for us, guys. He's going to sing.
What you singing, Tommy?
Okay. So what should I sing a song about?
Whatever.
I got one. Let me see if I can. Yeah, okay. 27 in Birmingham in the middle of April. Frost on peach trees, man, don't put no food on the table. Down in the Southland, things been changing. Up and down another road of this deja vu derangement, and these times keep on changing. Like Bobby Dylan said so many years ago, time keeps on moving like a midnight train. Hear it calling, but to where you never know. You know it's going, but to where you never sure. Guitar's low out there. Distant thoughts and distant dreams echo to and fro. Listen to your spirit song, hear it knocking at your door. Life, it ain't no mystery, it ain't no drama, ain't no game. What you is what you be, and we all, man, be the same. And these times keep on changing. Like Bobby Dylan said so many years ago, oh, time keeps on moving like a midnight train. Hear it calling, but to where you never know. You know it's going, but to where you never sure. Dear sister, sit with me while I feel you are in pain. You show me all your beauty and then stand out in the rain. Searching for a rainbow in the middle of the night. Lost in this lonely world, out of mind and out of sight. And these times keep on changing. Like Bobby Dylan said so many years ago, time keeps on moving like a midnight train. Hear it calling, but to where you never know. You know it's going, but to where you never sure. 27 Birmingham in the middle of April. Frost on peach trees, man, don't put no food on the table. No, no.
Thank you.
Well,
Thank
All
you,
right.
Tommy.
All right, everybody. On that note, we are done for the weekend. Now, next weekend, we have Stephen Yessel joining us, and he took some very interesting pictures of the sky from out at Susie's house. She's got a lot of activity out there. So we're going to talk about that Friday night. And Saturday night, I have Dr. Dennis Carroll coming on, who's going to bring his A game on witchcraft and black magic. So I hope to all see you guys next weekend. And
Thank you,
have
Debbie.
a good week. And
Thank you,
thank
Tommy.
you, Debbie, for coming on. Thanks, Tommy.
you,
I know you
Brenda.
had a rough day, so thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks for
And
having. Thank you for.
yeah, hey, not a problem. We'll have you back, and maybe hopefully by
Yes.
then they'll leave everybody alone. So good night, everybody. And like always, please be kind to one another. Have
God
a good
bless
night.
everybody.
God bless.
Yes.
Good night.
Goodbye for now from Beyond the Box. Inside, outside, upside, downside, beyond the box. Please join us again for Beyond the Box, Friday and Saturday evenings from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Central, 10 p.m. to midnight Eastern. Join us for more intel bombs with our extraordinary guests.
Break it down.
Good night, Putin. Good night, Tucker Carlson. Inside, outside,